Like we said before, James, cheeseburgers are good.
Yeah.
You know.
But trophies are better. All right. Feels so good to be in such adverse weather in such a cool car. It's actually the first time that I've driven the DBX in anything other than beautiful sunshine. This is kind of where it's at home, really, so it's the perfect opportunity. Even though we're not going far, we're heading up the road to Silverstone to a company called Motus One. Now, if you've been following my Praga journey so far, you may be familiar with my co-pro, Miles Lacey, who is managed by the guys at Motus One, and they very kindly extended their simulator services to us in order to get a feel for the next race that we shall be partaking in, which just so happens to be Snetterton, quite far away from where we're based right now, and they have a really sexy setup. Good to see you, dude.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
How's things?
Very good.
Tell me about this place. Do you know what's funny? Until I met you, I see this Motus One in the paddock, on trucks, on cars. I'm like, well, what is this?
We're like that.
What is this thing? It's everywhere, but nowhere.
We're like social ninjas.
Yeah.
We're just in hiding. It's like subliminal messaging, you know.
It's cool though. I always see it on good stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that GT3 racing car's got Motus One on it.
Well, you know, Motus One's done a lot of things. It's first and foremost, it's a sports marketing agency.
Okay.
Motorsports.
Right.
But separately to that, it's a race team.
Well, it's windy outside, and these lav mics probably aren't coping that well. So let's head in, and if you've got time, I'd love to have a walk and talk around here and show these guys what's behind the doors.
That we can do.
Which would be great. And then we're going to hop on the sim.
And then
This. That's a good start.
That is a good start.
I'm a fan of this.
It's always good to have a few pots on the show, isn't it?
Isn't it?
One of the biggest, most recent accolades, if you will, was their success in the Brabham BT62.
Oh wow!
So
these guys run that?
They run it,
No
and
way.
Will.
I think that's where I see
you must have seen it.
That's
yeah.
where I seen it. Yeah.
So Will Powell, who owns the business, was partnered with David Brabham, and they raced the night race at Brands Hatch.
How cool is that?
And they won.
Hey, that is awesome.
Yeah, you know, it's
some proper kit.
Some cool stuff. Nice and varied, you could say. So this is where we'll come back to a little bit later on.
Sim room.
The sim room. So we've got two identical simulators running, you know, kind of the best or latest tech you can get. The biggest thing is where simulators really level up is having a proper force feedback steering wheel.
Sure.
And realistic brake pedal feel as well.
Yes.
You know, that's really hard to emulate. Upstairs we've got a bit of a driver training kind of fitness area, conditioning.
If I was to spend some time with you, what's it will work on? Because this might be such an obvious question, but is it a driver specific training?
But we would also do a basic fitness package to increase your fitness levels to begin with. Work on your neck, but we try and replicate the driving experience. You'd be sitting on a stability ball, for instance, using your core while steering, while strengthening your neck. Blaze pods for the peripheral vision, for the response time, for all that kind of thing. Inertia waves we use going to get your heart rate up, so that will replicate the heart rate while you're doing your stint.
Prague is the first time I've stepped out of a car like panting. You know, and it's my arms as well. And I don't know if this is a fitness thing or a psychological thing, but I find myself in the car quite tense. Yeah, and I need to
work on forearms.
Relax a bit.
Forearms and arms quite a lot because people tense up and they get the pump.
Yeah.
And you get out and like you're too busy worrying about your pain in your arms when you should be thinking about your driving. When you get out the car and you're panting, that's because your heart rate is elevated for the whole time. So what we'll do, depending on your length of stint, say it's a 20-minute stint, 25, 30, we'll smash you for 30 minutes.
Right.
So if you can smash a session here for 30 minutes, you can go and do a stint.
Do that for 30
and you'll
minutes,
get out and you'll feel much better.
So we've got a couple of cheeky little things hiding under here, James.
You can tell me about these things.
So these are essentially the F1 car of go-karts.
Oh wow, look at this thing.
So these are Rotax Max Senior karts. So they're pretty advanced things. They don't look it, but they really are. We use these for kind of winter training as well. So any clients that, you know, they want to keep sharp, fitness for a start, but just reaction times, technique in the car, etc. Over the winter, there's not a lot we can do apart from obviously on the sim.
Sure.
But we can go and wheel these out now.
So you put a wetsuit on and get in the car.
Exactly. and actually, the first time we took them out at Wilton Mill at the start of January, it was like a monsoon. It was that bad. They actually red flagged it.
Did they? I have a lot of people in the comments going, "Oh, I can't left foot brake." But if anyone's ever been go-karting, you do it without thinking about it.
Correct.
It's really odd. It's a really odd thing. You just get in it because you have to.
You try and reach across there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, anyone who thinks they can't left foot brake, you can. It's just a psychological switch when you get in there if you have a clutch or anything to deal with. Now we're talking. Tell me about this.
Oh well,
this is special.
This is something, a step up from the Karts, should we say?
Slightly.
This is a McLaren GT4. They are largely based on the 570S road car, but a bit more racy, shall we say. You've got slick tyres, proper wet tyres if necessary. I think they're planning to do the Silverstone 500 in this later in the year. So, that'll be a good experience for sure. By stark contrast, we've got something like the Alpha at the back.
So what's that for then? Is that for like just training purposes?
Yeah. So these are brilliant because it's club level motorsport. So we've got a couple of customers that we run these for. But largely, it's, say somebody came along and said, I want to go and race, whatever it is, the Praga, McLaren, whatever. You can't just go and do that. You have to go and do some entry-level motorsport to upgrade your license. So you could do something you could do it in like an Alfa Romeo. We've got the Clio Cup car, that kind of stuff. And to be honest, they're just bloody good fun.
They're great, aren't they? Yeah. So Motus will look after all sorts of things then?
Anything, yeah.
Right, okay, if you've got an engine and wheels, it's good to go.
They're normally good, yeah. So this is a customer of Praga who bought, this is obviously the new generation car for 2021. He needed a team to run it, so Motus is running for him this year in Britcar. The interesting thing is that he's doing the whole thing on his own, where normally you would obviously have a driver pairing.
It's pretty baller.
So he will do the full hour or the full hour stint on his own. Not only are you travelling fast, because we're the fastest cars in the field, you're always navigating traffic, and you've got to pick your way through, and remembering that these are so small and fast, people don't always see you coming as well. So this is the car that Will Powell and Dave Scaramanga are racing, also in Britcar Endurance. So this is a McLaren 650S GT3.
That's a proper piece of kit.
Proper piece of kit.
Proper piece of kit.
So this runs in the top class of the Britcar Endurance. You can see there's hardly any room in these things, and they're stripped back to absolute basics too. Only what is required in there is in the cabin.
What is it with race cars having absolutely no room in them? I mean, compared to the Praga, that's like Albert Hall.
Oh god, yeah.
but still,
we could have a game of football in there.
Yeah.
This actually has, the only extra it has is can you see the little monitor in the centre of the dashboard?
Yes, yeah.
So that's for a rear-facing camera.
Okay.
So you can see what's going on around you a little bit easier. So this is kind of Will's main programme this year, which is in the TCR UK series.
Okay.
So he has a Hyundai customer racing supported car, which is this. Brilliant. So it's basically an i30 but full TCR touring car spec.
It sort of remotely resembles one, but it's not like one at all.
For sure.
But that's what that means.
But everything about it is, it's been designed to go quickly. You can even see, just on a much more basic level, the seat position is as low as it possibly can be. He's sat.
These cars are just so cool.
Awesome, isn't it?
They're just so cool.
And he sits as close to the middle of the car as possible too, for the best weight distribution, which is the Clio Cup car.
That Jay has been in?
Yeah, so someone like Jay, who had some racing experience, but he had to get a little bit more in order to get his Race National racing license.
Yes.
That's what you have to be qualified to drive the Praga. So he had to do some races lower level, which he did in the Clio Cup car.
Brilliant.
And he did really well, actually.
Yeah, did he?
I shared the seat with him at Silverstone, and he drove really, really well.
So, tell me more.
Okay, so we've got two identical simulators, both with...
Is this to simulate summer?
Yeah, so if we want to bake you to death, we put the heater on.
Summer sim, turn it around for the fan.
Look,
winter sim.
No expense spared here, James, come on.
Actually, as far as rigs go, I would love one of these.
So having the three, it's not necessary, but having the three monitors is much more immersive. Yeah. When you're in here with the lights off and everything, you feel totally involved in it. So this has a direct drive steering wheel, so the steering efforts are very high. The brake pedal is modelled on the strength of the Brabham, actually, that we used to run here, the Brabham BT62.
That's awesome.
So that's really, really tough. If
Yeah.
if we don't have the seat position right when you're on the sim, half an hour or so, and your lower back and your legs are killing you
Really?
because you're really trying hard in this thing, you know. First things first, seat position. All right, so it often feels like you're sat on top of it a little bit. But if you'll notice if you're not sat close enough, if you've got like a bit of a gap in between your back, say, and the back of the seat, you then compensate.
Right.
So you're putting a lot more work into your leg muscles and your back than you should. So okay. So the car we've got is a Dallara F3 car. I think it's a 2012 spec. Cool. This it's obviously not a direct translation to the Praga, but it's a good foundation for kind of learning aero techniques. What we will do is begin with.
First gear?
First gear. Yeah, first gear is always good.
Okay.
We'll begin with just having a look around the circuit at sort of crawling around speeds.
Does this pick up heat from the brakes and then put it in
the same
to the tyres?
It works on the same model, yeah. So
pretty cool.
Driving as you would in the real car, yeah.
Okay.
So you'll start to feel it come to you eventually. But what I'll do as we start to build the pace a little bit is sort of point out some of the more intricate areas.
Okay. Actually fascinating to see how that translates into real life track use.
I think
that'll be
that's
interesting.
It. And you know, like I said before you even started, it takes some time, a reasonable amount of time, just to get used to driving the sim. And you know, we'll do this every time we go to every circuit.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just a couple of hours makes such a big difference.
Absolutely. I'd like to come here anyway, even off camera, just to do some decent sessions.
And maybe a bit of training.
Exactly, yeah. Definitely off camera. I sweat enough on camera as it is. Every time I take my helmet off, I'm like, I've got this together. Honestly, it'll be fine.
Could you just do a piece of camera now?
Yeah, sure. Mega. Thanks very much, dude.
All right, man.
Have a good trip. I'll catch you later on.
You too.
Ciao.